Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. We are so thankful that you are joining us here for Lumio Palooza 2026. I am Chris Astle, the Manager of Customer Education here at Smart, and I am joined today by the very talented Claudia Fisanotti, who's joining us from Italy. I am so excited about this session. So as we are getting warmed up and ready to go, if you can tell us where you're joining from in the chat, we're excited to see who our audience is. And remember that we are doing our social challenge. We gave away 2 gift cards last night at the end of our first day of Lumio Palooza. So remember to share your favorite moments, tag us, capture them, and then that contest will be announced this evening. There will be a survey at the end, so make sure you complete that survey link, and we will also be sharing the link to Claudia's lesson so that you can join and participate along as we go. So Claudia, I have to say, I am super excited about this session. I may have weaseled my way in to be your co-host because it really got me thinking about my time in the classroom and how you're right, textbooks sometimes are just not fun for kids. And I think of my own kid who can at times be a reluctant learner, right? And textbooks are not her thing. And so thinking about the tools and the technology we have to really make meaningful experiences and get kids engaged and excited to learn. So what made you want to present at Lumio Palooza? Can you give us a nugget about how you got from boring to brilliant with Lumio before we jump into your session?
Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. I'm very, very proud and honored to be with you guys today. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So let me tell you, what I thought about this app smashing that I created with Notebook LM and Lumio is the fact that with Notebook LM, you can create amazing tailor-made materials, but they are there, they are static. They're passive in a sense. Whereas with Lumio, I've got a win-win situation. And you know why? Because I can make them interactive. And this is amazing because my students, I teach teachers too. So my students can be the toughest ones, the toughest students, because teachers, let me tell you, sometimes they're not a gift. Sometimes they're very demanding. And that's even normal because that's how we do with our kids. We want the best from them. And so, of course, we want the best from us. So I thought, why not creating an interactive lessons for both my teachers and my students, for them to achieve their potential, make it interactive and make it fun. And start from a book with no images, just teeny tiny writing, teeny tiny text, sad, boring, but full of amazing content. That's it.
I love it. Well, with that, I feel like we should jump into your session. So everyone, as you are participating, as you're listening, as you're learning, put those questions in the chat. I will make sure that we share them with Claudia and we get them answered for you. All right, Claudia, take it over.
All right, so you can see here the QR code if you want to join me, or we're going to put the link in the chat, or I'm just going to leave the class ID right there for you at your convenience. So let's start from boring to brilliant, redesigning textbook through narrative and gamification. So, well, this is a hint of what I actually did with books. I just combined Super 8, so arcade design, gamification, with really teeny tiny textbooks that are boring. They're fun, but they're still boring, So I'm going to tell you how I did it. My name is Claudia Fisanotti. I just want to introduce myself one more time. I'm a regional digital curriculum integrator based in Aosta Valley, that is in Italy. Here is super hot and humid, and this is not a normal summer for us, but we will prevail. So these are my social handles. Please keep in touch, get in touch with me. I will be more than honored and happy to be your friend. So the agenda today, we've got a problem to solve. Students are often passive during lesson of literature. The challenge, of course, as you might have understood, in Italy, English is not our first language. So we need to teach our students the different ways of learning literature and at the same time have a nice language level. And the solution, of course, is to create materials that are collaborative, they are fun, and, let me see whether, there you go. They are collaborative, they are fun, and of course, they are interactive. Let's start with the problem. So, as we already know, traditional history textbooks are passive. They don't have pictures because, hello, they couldn't take pictures in the Middle Ages. We have drawings, but it's not really the same. Plus, our students don't really link mentally and emotionally with what was before. So we need to, to make them motivated and ignite this attention span that sometimes is very, very short. We need to add visuals. We need to add interactivity while we teach them. So in clear lessons, because at the end of the day, our literature lessons are clear, content, language, integrated learning. Students must understand both the content of history and, of course, reach the B1 plus level, let's say B2, that is the top notch that we are going to achieve in high school, of the Common European Framework of Reference. That is to say that they understand and they speak English fluently. So as for the challenge, I started from the beginning. I thought, how might we make history engaging and memorable? How might we ignite our learners' motivation in learning a language that they don't really understand why they have to, to learn and to go with? And how can I integrate language learning naturally? You see, simple things like that every teacher actually tries to integrate in their lesson. So my strategies was to use notebook LM with Lumio. I'm going to show you. This is my notebook LM. And as you can see, this is I'm not telling any joke. This is the super strict page that we have as a book. So, at the end of the day, this is fun, but everything that we can do with that, it's even better. So let me tell you, what happened was that I took the pages and I created a selection of instruments, a selection of tools that I actually used. And I transformed them, as you can see, a sneak peek here, in Super 8 Arcade. And I'm going to show them in a second. So this is the book. This is kind of new. I try always to get books that are motivating and they're kind of fun for my teachers and my students to read. So I took 4 pages and then I created a presentation. I created a mind map, and of course I created a video. And I'm gonna show you later that, because here there is also a mystery that is a whodunit. So that's gonna be fun for my students. Of course, I had to give a prompting, because you know that with AI, the more secure you are with your prompt, the more, detailed is your prompt, the better it is. So I asked Notebook LM to create materials that are between B1 plus and B2 of Common European Framework of Reference as language level. I asked them to simplify historical explanation, to create clear and engaging content, and of course support multimodality, because if we don't support multimodality, we are not taking care of our students. Well, I gamified the design because I wanted to increase curiosity, I want to motivate my students, and of course I wanted to create kind of a mission, an escape room, an adventure, and I wanted my students to become detectives and also to be leader of their own learning. I didn't want to, because of course there's no point of using Lumio and then making my students passive. I want my students, and you will see later why I'm saying that, I want my students to be not only happy, but also the main characters of their own learning. So, the solution, there you go, gamified design. I used, of course, the amazingness of Lumio. I created a selection of interactive exercises for my students to learn better. All right, so I just wanted to know whether you are ready for the activity. So please let me know now. I've got the live result right here with me. Fingers crossed it's working because my internet connection is not that good. So I hope everything is gonna go smoothly. And of course, okay, thank you, thank you. I see some answers coming. Yay, yay, there you go. Fantastic. You see the beauty of Lumio, you see everything live. And this is another value that we cannot really underestimate, because this is a bonus that we cannot find anywhere else. So thank you. That's just amazing. All right, I think we are kind of good. I'm just gonna carry on with the lessons. As you can see, what I did was create a Tudor quest, and I created like a 1980s arcade game where our main characters is Henry VII. You can kind of see the logo here that is kind of stylish, but at the same time is like Super Mario-ish, something like that. So I didn't want to press start and go, that's, of course, it's just symbolical, but in some ways we kind of we can press start and begin our lesson. So you see, these are a selection of exercises. This is the first one, a brainstorming activity. Why would a king care about money more than war? Of course, I don't want you guys to answer. I just, if you want, you're more than welcome, but I'm not teaching you history right now. So I'm just showing you a selection of exercises that I wanted to give you as a for instance. And then, of course, you got like a tutorial, the War of the Roses. So I'm presenting history in a fun, modern and interactive way. So we got the situation, we've got the goal. So we got the situation, we've got the goal, we got the game tip, and we got an example. And here we've got a special word that belongs to B2 level of the Common European Framework. So basically what happens is that while we are learning and we are teaching together, what happens is that I'm learning new words, and at the same time, I've got even their function within a sentence. So that's something that normally you would do in grammar. You would have stimulus response. Here you don't have stimulus response. Here you have the development within a context, which in my opinion, it's even better. Then here I decided to give choice to my students, and I want them to understand the causes of the War of the Roses, so the war between Lancasters and York. And I said, okay, so what you have to do, you have, not very good, you have to put everything in the correct place. There you go. And so on and so forth. And of course, at the end, you've got feedback and that goes well done, etc., etc. Just to make sure that basically you understand who is with whom, who does what, and why Lancasters is battling York, of course, for power and of course for money. And then here you've got another battle that is quite important. And you can see I used a lot of images and a lot of colors to develop that. And so basically, I don't want to, of course, go through the lesson step by step, but I'm just going to show you the layout. And here there is a fill in the blanks, because the more we go through the lesson, that can be, held in small groups, or I could be like the facilitator with a big screen that it's interactive and we can do that together. We've got a selection of things that we can actually do with Lumio. And then, of course, I could answer all the different questions that I'm asking, or in small groups, or of course, all together. And you see, this is another way to create multimodality, and of course, another way to develop students' understanding of the topic, that maybe it's not that easy, because of course it's so far away from them, and at the same time they don't really understand why they have to fight for power. Unfortunately, we have some sad example right now, but it's kind of still far away. And then level missions, this is the first one. So what does Henry VII have to do in order to get power? Marry somebody, have an heir, and save money. And then I'm asking them, so why do you think this is important? Can you give me like a first and a last thing. So why do you think so? So first of all, we got a discussion. We discussed the why and the hows. And then, of course, we understand that our culture is totally different from the culture that was held when Henry VII was, of course, alive and had to take this kind of decisions. And then we need to go for this. We don't need to do anything, but we need to analyze and reflect on all the different things that happen during the period of time. And of course, because I told you that hello student agency, I don't want my students to be passive and just go through stimulus response. I want them to use their brain. And to understand why Henry VII took the decision he took. So checkpoint 1, reflective, review and reflect. What happened? Why did he do what he did? And there you go. And then of course, you have a teacher handout where the students need to take a breath, reflect, and analyze what they've been studying so far, which looks easy, but on the one hand, it might be, on the other hand, not so much, because they're learning history step by step. And then I just wanted to create a memory game just to show them how the different things develop. Of course, this might not be just a 45 minutes activity, that is obvious. This is an activity that we can do in installments, maybe in one session and then another session and then another session again, just to raise awareness and to make our students understand the difference and, leave the short-term memory to go to the long-term memory. So we got this activity, cause and effect, and of course, another adventure warning, new enemies approaching. You see, we got the different words, we got the level 2, so as if we were in Super Mario kind of. And then we got reflective questions. Why do you think Henry Thrones is safe? Do you think it is? Why not? Etc. etc. So we got the pretenders, Perkin Warbeck, that actually allow our students to achieve their potential and learn at the same time while having fun, really. And then we got the second checkpoint. And then, of course, we always want to check our students' progress. And there's you see, game saved. So it's kind of always gamified, test your knowledge, what is a pretender, etc., etc. So kind of concept check questions in order for our students to understand better where they are going. And then after that, I told you, I took the presentation, that this is the very one presentation that I created with Notebook LM. And then, of course, I used the video that I modeled to create a special mystery game. So unfortunately, during the reign of Henry II, 2 pretenders, so the sons of Mary, were kidnapped, and we don't really know what happened to them. And so this is the Great Tudor Whodunit, which is a sad history that is still aches in the UK, because we don't really know where these kids went. And then, of course, this is a bonus level because we think about the princes in the tower and what happened to them. We don't really know. We kind of know, unfortunately, but we don't really know what really happened. And then, of course, who did it, who done it. When we say in the UK, we say who done it, choose your suspect. And so you have the analysis of suspect. And if you consider the fact that here, this is only every time that we have a new slide, every time we go a new activity, it's a way for our students not only to develop reading and writing, but also speaking and listening. Because why not reading together? Why not talking together and discussing together and not it's not compulsory, the fact of writing and reading as a standalone. We can use the 4 skills together to develop, of course, our language in a fun and motivating way. And then, of course, as you can see here, we got the highlight of Richard III. It's kind of, we know that what he did, but then history says, no, it's not that bad. I don't know. It's not for me to say. And then, the henchman and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we are kind of at the end of our lesson. Who is most likely responsible? So defend answers with evidence, historical reasoning, and correct grammar. And of course, here you will see the students' progress, because here our students are actually able to write, jot down their ideas. And even if they're confused, why not writing, I don't know, can we go through that again? It would be a very nice thing to do together in order to understand and to go to the next level in a different way and in a more interactive way. And then of course, level complete, the verdict, etc., and then the final checkpoint. Well, of course, the activity is finished, and when you finish, you kind of have this verdict card. And what I did is to create a teacher handout that has I don't remember the name in English, I'm sorry, the post-it, post-it that you can actually write, so to have all the different answers and questions all together, and in order for, to go for an exit ticket that is effective and efficient at the same time. There you go. And then, of course, the educational impact. What is the educational impact of this activity? Well, we help our students to remain focused, to have fun, at the same time to learn difficult things with a smile and with color, and of course with creativity. They also practice English in meaningful environments, of course. And then grammar, because grammar sometimes for a student it's a no. Oh my God, miss, do we really need to do that? It's boring. But in that way, we develop problem solving, critical thinking, and of course, cause and opinion and grammar. And it's not that bad at the end of the day. And as for my conclusion, I combined multimodality, AI, gamification, and thanks God, the Lumio interactivity. And I transformed a traditional English history lesson into an engaging, clear experience. And I hope you like it as much as I liked it doing it. So the final result is that students did not simply study history, but they experienced it actively through language, collaboration, and of course, problem solving. There you go.
Claudia, I loved this lesson. It felt so much fun, and I definitely could see myself wanting to learn that way. And when I think of the students I've worked with, and when I think of
Chris, I think
can you hear me?
Well, never mind. So we're waiting for Chris to enter the studio. I can't see her. So I don't know whether, she's back again. There you go. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I loved your lesson, Claudia. That was phenomenal and so much fun. And I feel like there's so many applications of that. I mean, for language learning, for history, but also across all the other subject areas as well. So I feel like I took away a ton today. So we are going to share this lesson. Sophie, who is our magical support person in the background, will pop the lesson link in the chat so you guys can take this lesson and download it to your Lumio library so you can use it or adapt it to meet the students in your classrooms. We have also popped a session survey in the chat. So we really do want your feedback. We read every single one of these surveys, and it really helps us decide what we want to do next year with Lumio Palooza to make sure it serves you. So complete the survey. Grab Claudia's lesson because it is definitely well worth it. On the screen right now, we've got some great resources for you. So if you want to connect with other amazing teachers like Claudia, who is one of our ambassadors, you can click on the global community link and join our ambassador program. We've got a lot of resources to learn more about Lumio. So if this is your first time experiencing Lumio or you want to learn how to go deeper, we've got Lumio on YouTube, we've got webinars that we do all the time, and we have our amazing academy, which is self-paced virtual online learning. All you have to do is sign up, and all the courses are there at your fingertips and in multiple languages. Can we go to the next page, Claudia?
Of course.
Thank you. All right. Become an ambassador. Scan this QR code and you can join our amazing ambassador community. So there are 4 tiers in our community. And as you level up, you get lots of fun rewards. So once you make it to our second tier, You actually will get free access to Lumio Spark. So you'll get lots of great features with Lumio. If you're on the free version right now and need more storage, become an ambassador. Move up to our second tier and we will get you involved there. We also reach out to our ambassadors all the time to present for us, to do webinars. We provide gift cards for everybody who does that. And when you join our platform, you can talk to lots of other teachers who are solving the same problems as you are. So I highly, highly encourage you to become an ambassador. And on to the next page. Social challenge. I mentioned at the beginning. I'm going to mention it now. If you loved what you were learning, tell everybody about it. Join our social sharing challenge. Make sure that you are tagging us at #LumioPalooza. And we are going to announce some gift card winners tonight. So there'll be 2 winners tonight. So make sure you're out there actively posting. And I think we have one more, Claudia. Yeah?
Yes, we do. We do.
A survey, exactly. So please,
Yeah.
please.
That's it.
Make sure you fill out that survey. All of those links are in the chat and also in the Lumio file. Claudia, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate what I've learned from you. I really appreciate what you've shared. And I know that everyone who is here live and everyone who watches the recording is definitely going to get some value out of this session. And thank you all who attended for making time for us today. We appreciate you. I know you learned something great and I look forward to seeing you guys in another session.